Rest is a spiritual practice. It is actually a part of God's success plan. This morning, as I was working on my routine that makes me brilliant, if you're uncertain about what that is, you can check out the first intro video to my YouTube channel. I talk more in depth about it. And as I was working on it, one of the things that I do is I exercise in the mornings, and I'm normally listening to podcasts or something on YouTube. And in the process, I see a video that had the title Rest. I can't remember exactly what it said, but it had the words rest in it. It caught my attention and I clicked on it. And one of the reasons it caught my attention is because I understand so much differently now than ever before the importance of rest, not just from a well being and you need 8 hours of sleep type thing, but I know when you're on 24/7, you're normally working from a space of desperation or pressure, um, and even more so fear. But resting, if you have not made it a part of your strategy, it should be. Because it is in those times that some of the biggest ideas come. Some of the greatest spaces of clarity happen in a space of rest. And I incorporate it in every day for me. I have productive rest months where I do no coaching, two months out of the year, July and December. And this is my second business. I owned a brick and mortar service based business for over a decade and led a team of about 12 employees. And I knew when I started this business that I was going to work differently. Now, even then, I worked smarter, not harder, because when I opened that business, I knew that I'd have employees. I knew that I wouldn't have to be in the building, if you would, in order for money to be produced. And so I already had a vision of working smarter and not harder. But, at some point, I realized that I was still operating in my masculine energy. And that was something that happened over time. I didn't start out that way. It wasn't how I worked the majority of the time that I was there, but there was a season. And most of that is because I wasn't being supported properly in my personal life. And so whenever that occurs, you go into your masculine energy. Now, I'm going to talk about masculine and feminine energy more in depth and give it its own audio video. But for now, I will say that we do need masculine energy as women as well. Everybody needs both energies, but as women, when we overexert and are so far in our masculine, it does us more harm physically long term than it does even for men because we're wired differently. Um, but I wanted to share with you that rest is a spiritual practice. It is a strategy for growing your business. I, as I was doing my routine that makes me brilliant, I heard Layla Hermanza. I know I'm tearing her name up, but her husband is Alex Hermanza, Hormozo. I should have really looked at how to pronounce their names, but I looked at a video that she dropped this morning, and it had just dropped. I think it said maybe 12 hours when it came down my timeline. Now, I didn't know it was her. I stopped following her many years ago when I originally was introduced to her via social media. Her energy was just a little more masculine than I desired. I was definitely in a phase in my life where I was really focused on working even more smart than hard. And so it just wasn't what I embodied. It wasn't what I was teaching. And it wasn't what the clients that I desired wanted to rest in. And so I'm so mindful of not even doing a lot of listening to people who aren't on the same frequency that I am. Now, take it for granted, she's earned a lot of money and she's done a lot of things, but the energy behind it is where it differed for me. So I didn't even know it was her. She looked so different, but I realized it was her after I clicked on. But it was interesting because I love the fact that she stepped into a new space of awareness. She's normally just hustle hard, go hard, no sleep, no excuses to anything. That is her energy. And she was sharing how coaches have been telling her, friends have been telling her for years that she needed to incorporate rest. But of course, she bucked against it, and it was mainly her identity. I'm sharing what she was sharing. In her identity, she thought that rest meant she was quitting. And I thought about how many women actually have that same identity. Like, if they're not going hard all the time, it means they're quitting. And I just wanted to say on today that rest is a strategy, it is a spiritual practice. I have had the most reward in my times of rest. My most creative times, my most productive times have either come because I'm just coming off of rest or because I got witty inventions during a time of rest. Because anything else, I was in motion and just tunnel vision on what I should have been doing then. Listen, rest is a spiritual practice, it's one of God's success tools. And if you've been telling yourself that you don't deserve to rest, or if you're resting, you're quitting, you're not quitting if you rest, you're just resting. And it's so necessary, especially for women in business. That's my take on today. I'm Tanya Wilson, also known as the growth strategist, business consultant, and mindset coach. I help women just like you step into their personal power. Some of your personal power is tapped into when you're resting. Scale their business and create lifestyles they love. If you're looking for added support in growing and scaling your business, go to renewfullcircle.com. Peace and abundance.